Spaces, I got a question.
All right, cool.
You've been a man of faith. I think you'll find this interesting. We all know Viola Davis, yeah?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about already?
Yeah. No, I
so
have my own thoughts.
She she said that she prayed for her husband. His name is Julius, before meeting him. And when she prayed for him, she was, real specific. She wanted a big black man from the South. Well, what do you think? Just your thoughts off that.
She said she had to be specific, but then she turned around and said something very, very broad.
I mean, she went more into it.
Oh,
that's kind of just the headline for it. Because she said somebody told her, if you want to pray for exactly what you want. She was praying for a man. That could be anybody. So somebody told her, if you want to pray for exactly for what you want.
That's a loaded. Okay, go ahead.
So I mean, that's pretty much the gist. Okay. I guess the thing is, the issue that resonates with me is that I don't think you should be praying for a significant other. That's, to me, like, it's praying for a trivial thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should pray for, like, health. I almost want to say things that are beyond your control. And to me, finding a suitable mate is well within your control.
Okay.
So, like, praying for a woman with dick sucking lips and a big booty, and with the Wak 3000,
right?
Oh yeah, let her not have a dick, like. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think praying for things like that is, like, trivial, and it's just like, ugh, to me.
Oh man, you got my head itching. Man, that's a loaded, because where do I start? So when you pray, you are supposed to. Prayer is just verbalizing the desires of your heart. God already knows your heart. He just wants you to be able to verbalize it, right?
It's like an affirmation.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Okay.
Right. And I don't see where people in the Christian faith in particular go wrong, where I think a lot of people go wrong when they pray. First of all, they pray with hardcore desires of whatever they're praying to be the outcome, right? To specifically be the outcome, right?
What do you mean? You got an example?
Like, you say you want to. She said she prayed for a big black man in the South, right?
From the South.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. You may want a big black man from the South, but where Christians a lot of times go wrong is ultimately God's will is going to be done. So you can pray for what you want, but you still have to have the expectancy of not getting what it is that you specifically prayed for.
Man, I'm finna sound like a heathen. So I'm like, if that's the case, why I pray?
Because again, it's out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Right. This is just like when you do your comedy thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you put your best foot forward, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the outcome is out of your control.
Okay. You're right. So I want to say, to a certain extent, is ways to maneuver in situations.
Right.
But you're right. I don't know how a crowd's gonna take to a joke. I just don't know that.
Right. So that's why when I hear preachers say, tell God, be specific about what it is that you want, I get it, but I have yet to hear, I ain't gonna say yet, because I'm sure I've been in the church for a long time, but at some point I'm sure I've heard it. But what I think needs to be specified is, when you pray, speak to God about the desires of your heart, but still expect God's will to be done at the end. Because that's part number one. Part number two, where I think people go wrong, is they all preachers, people in Christian faith, always say pray for what you want, but there's no emphasis on internal work for you to be able to deserve what it is that you want.
There's a saying, right? Prayer without work,
faith without works is dead.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So you can have all the faith that this big black man from the South is going to come.
Right.
But if you don't, if you live in Alaska, you know what I'm saying?
China.
You know what I'm saying? Man from the South, from Mississippi, like what? How are you gonna come across this person, right? Like you have faith that you're gonna faith in the best outcome for your comedy,
right?
But let you go up there and try to freestyle something. Some people got that talent. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But you got to write out a set. Mm-hmm. You got to evaluate that set,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. People pray without expecting God's will to be done in the end. Number two, people pray for the desires of their heart, but don't put in any kind of work to deserve what it is that they're praying for.
I think that's the mark right there to me. Curtis, when the last time you prayed?
Never.
Never? Oh, you're a full-blown heathen. No, I do a little prayer every day. Every time I get in my car.
Yeah.
I thank the Lord for everything that I got and everything I don't have.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my little simple prayer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's just it can be that simple, right? And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. What I also think about is you pray according to the desires of your heart, right? Or well, when it comes to what you pray for, how because it's hard to say.
Where's the line between praying and begging? At what point are you begging?
I think the difference is in the verbiage.
Really?
The verbiage of the prayer. Because if you say, God, I want a big black man from the South, which I don't know why you would even phrase it that way. But if you say, God, please send me a man from the South, Lord, please, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a different. That's when you're begging. That's when you're begging.
Lord, like get your begging ass.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of wife would you be to a big black man from the South if I sent him to you?
Right.
So that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, and like you definitely don't need to beg. Like who wants to do that? That don't make sense.
No, I think you already like answered my conundrum there. It's like you praying for said person. What have you done to get said person?
Yeah, they'll be sitting on their butt watching TV, praying for it. But you don't do any kind of work.
Lose weight. They ain't worked out not one time. Right? Say, Lord, these chips are good, but let me lose some.
Right. Like you
Lord, I'm gonna eat this thing of ice cream, but let me lose some weight while I eat.
The pastor of this church that I used to go to, he said his friend, obviously you pray, well, I don't know if y'all do, but I pray before I eat my food, right? That's the most basic prayer that people do, right? But I'll pray, me for instance, because I'm not perfect or whatever, right? I'll pray for my body to be protected from the impurities in the food that I'm about to eat while I'm eating Popeyes. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't eat it often, but sometimes.
Lord, take the COVID out this chicken.
You know what I'm saying? Lord, no salmonella. You know what I'm saying? But I'm putting myself in the way of those things to happen to me, of me to ingest those things because I'm eating it.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people go wrong. And that's why I think that's what we're talking about right here is a major contribution to why Christianity as a faith is dying.
I was just finna like kind of segue into that. I feel like our generation is, I want to say slowly getting away from church, but it's just quickly. Yeah. I can more easily find someone who don't go to church and don't pray than I could someone who does go to church and prays every day and live a devout life. Why do you think that is? Where did the church go wrong from our grandparents to our parents to us?
So I have a family, and part of my dad's side lives in Joliet.
Okay.
Right, and they went to a church, right? And when I was a kid going there, you in order to when service was over, you had to walk side by side, turn sideways and walk through people to get through, right?
Right.
I just went there this past what was it? Christmas? Yeah, this past Christmas. Mm-hmm. Bro, it's at the point now where I can lay down on the pews and fall asleep, bro. Like everybody that was there can lay down on the pews and fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, like what's going on? And you know, from other conversations in the past with other people, I came to a realization is that people were going to church out of tradition and not out of a true relationship,
right,
with God, right? So once they get to that point of adulthood,
I don't have to go.
I don't gotta go.
You ain't gonna make me?
What? Right? You know what I'm saying? Mom, you want me to go to church? No. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
I'm not gonna go.
Right.
So now that they and the proof of that is in their actions, right? If you really had a relationship with God and you wanted to cultivate that, you don't necessarily have to get it from church. Right. By the way, I follow Christianity as a spiritual belief, not as a religion. Right.
Okay. Religions are dangerous.
Religions are
borderline cults.
Right. I've been to churches where that, bro. But yeah, and but that's what I think is why Christianity is dying, because people were going because their parents told them to,
right? Not
because there was a true relationship with God.
I think, especially black churches, missed a huge mark when they didn't encompass the community. When you are not encompassing the blocks around your church, you miss a huge demographic. Well, just a huge market, because every hood got a church dead smack in the middle. You'll find a church before a school. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So with that being said, the people in the church, they go in church and they hide. You know what I'm saying? Then they leave. Oh, Curtis got something to say?
Because I live in Inglewood.
Uh-huh.
There are literally 2 churches right down the street from each other where I stay at. Mm-hmm. I don't think nobody from my neighborhood goes to either one of them.
That's ridiculous.
I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, it's always line of cars, and ain't nobody
walking the church.
Right, I'm gonna say, like,
at least they not from within the 5-block radiuses that's around the church.
Right.
Most, maybe a few, but for the most part, nope, they don't really connect with the neighborhood that they in.
That's to me, that's crazy, because that's what the church was supposed to be. No, So I mean, with that being said, they missed that, right? So now you got kids running past the church, don't even know what it is, ain't never been inside, which is crazy, because the Church of the Lord's house supposed to be open always, right? I ain't gonna quote no scriptures, I don't know none. So, but I've heard several things from a childhood that I can remember, right?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be able to go to church and whatever. You ain't supposed. Don't necessarily have to have dedicated church clothes. I remember my uncle.
That's religion practice.
If I come to church and I got a big ass, let's say, pyramid on my back that say BPSN, I should be welcome, right?
100%. No, my uncle, he has problem with drugs.
Right. Yeah.
Substance abuse, as the white people say. Yeah. He said he went to walk in the church one time and they kicked him out because he was not dressed to walk in the Lord's house. I was like, yo, what kind of mess is that? That's where you all supposed to be able to come in there and seek the guidance of this so-called person of God.
Yeah. Did he stink?
Huh? No, he ain't never stunk.
Then he should have been.
Well, if he did stink, wash him.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that when he said that, but that's a good point.
If he did stink, provide him a place to wash up.
Yeah.
How you supposed to be a pillar? Every time I see all these televangelists, they claim to be a pillar of the community.
These what?
Televangelists. The Joel Osteens.
Yeah, I get you. I agree.
A lot of those guys are a reason why people seeing through the bullshit with a lot of these preachers and deacons and shit.
100%.
And they seeing these people like
living life of luxury,
while
tax free.
While another human probably shouldn't turn you off from being spiritual or being religious. A lot of times these people do turn other folk off, especially younger people. Like
it's the televangelists, the people.
I mean, not even just them. Cause
right, I was saying not just them.
I was like,
because Reflo Dollar. Y'all remember him?
He's still around.
He's just a hustler. He's a hustler.
Let Charlamagne the God tell it. That's he the real thing.
That man is a hustler. He needed 10 Gucci suits because he sweats. Like, don't stop,
bro. And That's another contribution to why Christianity is dying. There's so many fakes, right? And then
that's anywhere.
It's tough to say fakes.
And when it comes to anything, I expect there to be imitators.
Right.
I do. But then, like I said, these people in these communities, these quote unquote undesirable communities, with all these churches dead smack in the middle of every fucking thing, and they are not reaching out to the community. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of stuff people do because don't nobody see it. If your church was part of the community, it's somebody there all the time.
Right.
Churches having something every day. There's somebody outside. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody there. You can't do nothing in front of church because somebody's going to see and tell on you. So you know what happens?
Right.
You go somewhere else and do it. You know what happens? That block becomes a good block.
Right.
And if everybody in the neighborhood is going to this church because you have reached out and became a pillar of the community, everybody's telling.
Right.
If everybody's telling, then there's no more crime. Like, so what? Then what?
There was a community at one point, and
also, point number 2, what I think they missed is should have been more like the synagogues. Synagogues worked as credit unions to their patrons. They could go to their church and get a loan. They ain't got no bank. Church got all this money, building funds, tithes, and are not reinvesting back into the community. You can't not one person go into most black churches. I ain't gonna say I won't speak in absolutes because I'm pretty sure that's one.
Yeah.
But the most black churches, you can't go in there and ask for a loan to open up a business. You can't go in there. Hey, I've been going to church 15 years. I'm thinking about starting a vending service.
Yeah.
Can I borrow the equity to buy my first 5 vending machines? No, they don't loan out money. So what you got to do? There's a white man and beg for this high interest loan.
Yeah.
When I could be paying my interest back to this church, which then will come back and reinvest until the community.
Right.
Talking about buying the block, the church should have bought the block.
Bro, you just speaking of televangelists, right?
You actually like the who? Like I said it wrong.
No. It's just funny that you said that because it's like people are really bro. You know, at night when the random commercials come on or whatever it was, right? Yeah. I saw, bro. There's televangelists that are out here trying to sell holy water.
Yeah.
Bro,
$25 a vial.
A vial, bro. A vial. Not even a bottle.
You can walk into the Catholic church. There's water right there. This water right there.
It's actual holy water, bro.
The doors are open. You can walk in, dip the finger, wash your hands. I went to the Catholic church for 2 years. I've seen people like clean their whole face with that water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you want me to dip my finger? Well, it's blessed, but whatever.
But while you were talking, I was looking at my phone. I was trying to find the specific video. I had to do a little bit more research, but another reason why the church is failing. People put the pastor on a pedestal. On a pedestal to where the pastor almost seems like the church is worshiping him instead of God. For instance, I watched a video where I forget what the pastor's name. I gotta find it. I'll post a link once I find it. But this pastor was sitting in a chair, and the deacons or the ushers or whoever set it up so that there's poles on the outside or at the bottom at the pastor's feet. Uh-huh. They lifted the pastor up, kind of like you do with a casket. They lifted the pastor up and put him on their shoulders while he's sitting in the chair, and walked around the church with him.
Who do you think he is?
Who are you worshiping, fam? Like, straight up.
Ain't that a direct violation? That's worshiping a false idol.
You know what I'm saying?
Need to get violated in the name of Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you worshiping? You know what I'm saying? And man, I got an example after example,
and it ruins it for the real pastors out here. You know what I'm saying? I get it. So, with all that being said, we talked about all the reasons why people don't go to church. How do they win it back? You man of faith, do you think church is important?
Yes.
Curtis, you think church is important?
No.
Like, not at all.
No.
You don't need church at all to go to heaven?
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, you have to believe in that certain stuff. I'm not necessarily a believer, so
you
I
just
wouldn't.
die. It's dark.
I don't
Long
know.
ass nap.
I don't know. I don't know. It never.
I mean, what do you think?
Maybe I'm reborn as a fucking ant or some shit.
That's I think. Oh, Hinduism.
Yeah,
I think
Hinduism.
believes that. Like you just constantly reincarnated.
Somebody had, I think it was Eddie Griffin or somebody, one of them, another comic had said, he was like, if doing good deeds get you to heaven and you die, found out there's no heaven, the worst you did was be a good person. The worst you did.
But do you think a person is a good person if they only doing it because they think they gonna get some money?
No,
because
absolutely not. No, because that's not you. That's not your true you.
Right.
There's so many fake people who go to church. We all know some of the quote unquote church people are the worst people.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Are the worst two-faced people.
Yes.
They in
color
church,
ladies.
They in church 9 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Could be some of the worst people. Not have your best interest at heart. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily trying to be a good person. Just be a good person. You see what I'm saying? When you have to try, you ain't really doing it. You have to force yourself not to fuck this person over. That ain't your true you.
Right.
Like, oh, he dropped that $10. Like, oh, I should fucking take it. Whoa. Yeah. But I'm gonna give it back because God watching.
You're not really a good person.
No.
You gotta challenge that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're not a good person.
The bottom line is $10 in the church.
You know what? The biggest reason why I never really got into caring at least about religion was because it was a couple reasons. Too many human hands have been able to influence a lot of these books.
Yeah.
Second reason, it was not our ancestors' original religion.
You know what I found out? I just found out that they only gave the slaves
a certain
partial.
portion.
Yes. I just found that out. I didn't know that.
A certain portion of the Bible?
Yes.
Do you think so
it was about 8 books out of the whole new Bible that we have now. Only a couple books.
Yeah.
And it was only the ones pertaining to slaves listen to their master.
Those
That ass.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, that's crazy.
Old Testament.
Yeah,
so they tried to act like, I'm sorry, they tried to act like they taught black people Christianity. But no, you taught us a version. Mm-hmm. You didn't even give us everything y'all believe. And this is supposed to be something I continue to believe and pass on.
Right.
That's completely asinine to me. Yeah, I got it now, but let's talk about, epigenetics, the passing down of trauma. How we live in our households.
I guess, and then another, I think, and then it was something somebody said. Maybe it was a pastor, preacher, a deacon, or maybe my grandma said this shit. But we had to go through slavery to find Christianity. I didn't like that shit at all, not one bit. And I'm thinking to myself, why does this God want me to suffer this much to find him? Or won't our ancestors suffer this much to find him? Or it, or whatever the fuck. I didn't like that shit. I was like, I'm good on this. All together. And I think that was one of the main things for me. Hey. And I guess if I actually had a conversation with somebody, they can give me a better outlook, but I haven't had one. Yeah. So until then, I ain't fucking with
it. Right. I get you. And the way I rationalize it in my head, right, to be honest, at the end of the day, do I believe in God? Yes, right. Do I believe that there is a heaven and a hell? Yes. Is the only way to get to heaven and hell is through the church? Nah. You don't necessarily have to go to church. It's definitely, like the Bible says, forsake not the fellowship of your brothers and sisters. Your brothers and sisters in Christ are in the church. So that's where we all go to celebrate God, right? So to that degree, I do recommend that we go to church, but you don't necessarily have to.
I mean, isn't your body the temple? So
yeah,
walking in your body, you walking in church.
Right. Your body is a temple, but the church is a temple where the different bodies of Christ, where we all come together as a body of Christ.
Yeah, but who said that, right? Because Jesus didn't go to church.
Jesus was a traveling ministry.
Yeah, but the church wasn't invented after he died.
Okay.
They had religion. You know what I'm saying? But there was no church. And then once the church was created, that's when they created tithes. It started off
as a traveling ministry.
Right. It was no one place.
Right.
So his body was the temple.
Right.
And wherever he was, there was church.
Right.
So vice versa. If your body is the temple, wherever you are, there's church.
Yeah. So to that degree, I don't disagree. It sounds like you're saying if your body is the church or the temple, then why go to the church building? Right. Because we're gathering together to celebrate Christ.
Right. So any gathering could be considered church.
And that's what I'm really getting at, right? You don't. That's what I mean when I say you don't necessarily have to go to church,
right?
Because the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, I will be in the midst. Right? So it could just be me and you,
right?
And we have a church. You know what I'm saying? But the to what Curtis,
I got a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, you had something just for a second. Go ahead.
To what Curtis was saying, at the end of the day, it's all about faith, right? It's all about faith and works. You can believe that, you can take the approach of if I be a good person while I'm here on earth, then I'll make it into heaven. But there has to be some sort. Man, I got different ways I can phrase this. But it's really a matter of your personal relationship. Like there is. That's what he was saying. He was saying, like, why did my ancestors have to go through what they went through to find God? Well, everybody has to go through something to get the results that they want.
I don't like that.
Like you gotta before you become a big comedian, you gotta go through this baseline. Now,
I gotta put in work.
I'm not trying to equate that to
slavery. I get it. You said it for them.
Yeah, I'm not trying to equate that to slavery because somebody in the comments is gonna say you can't being a comedian and blah. No, I'm saying it's just a matter of
I can't live 600 years.
It's a matter of just putting in something having to be done in order to get to the results that you want.
Okay. I can understand it. I don't agree, but I can understand it.
Okay. Go ahead what you were going to say.
Do you believe that some people are closer to God than others?
Elaborate.
Pastors is basically what I'm getting at. They're supposed to be closer to God to receive his message and then disseminate that in their sermons.
I don't think so. Closer to God? No.
What would you say to him?
He's a teacher.
Right, but I've heard time and time over that they receive the message from God to deliver this sermon.
That sounds to me like, well, yeah, because
you trying to say every thought is a message from God?
Well, I would hope so, because if you're
living in the word,
if you're telling me that this is what God said, then I have to, in my mind, like how it translates to me is that you prayed on this. You studied the Bible. You've had your communion time with God. So what you're telling me is what you heard from God, right? I have to be able to believe that.
Right. Okay. I hear you. But what you're telling me is that God told you to tell me.
Yeah.
What's the middleman for?
Well, are you practicing it? Like, I'm asking that like hypothetically. Like, so what are you doing personally to try to eliminate the necessity of a pastor?
Is that the question? So you telling me that the people in the congregation are not trying to eliminate the pastor? They don't want to be as close. They don't want to receive the message directly.
It's like you can go to directly to God. Like when you're at home in your spare time, instead of watching Wheel of Fortune and drinking wine, you can
go straight to HR.
You can go straight to God, and that's like at the church that I was at. That's why I personally stayed there as long as I did. I stayed there for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I truly, like I said before, I asked myself and I asked God while I'm hearing whatever the pastor's saying, how does this sound?
Right.
How does this sound to me? That's what I think everybody should do when they hear a pastor. Because if you're just taking the pastor for their word, then they can tell you whatever they want to, right?
God told me to double y'all tithes this week.
That's what they do, bro. they do that, and that's another
God
reason.
said my Bentley needs an oil change.
Bro.
When he turned on the oil change light in the Bentley.
Bro, I see. First, there's pastors.
The Rolls Royce is in the shop, so I can't.
There's pastors with helicopters, bro.
That's crazy.
There's helicopters with private. Pastors with private. I just watched this video.
Aren't you not supposed to live beyond your means? Is
Bro,
that not in there?
No, that's part number one, right? Number one is while you make enough money to finance a private jet or a helicopter, how is your congregation? Is your congregation suffering? Like if you have a Bentley, but
you picking up everybody in a school bus.
But Sister Janine, married, 2 kids and struggling. What are you doing for her?
Eating out the food pantry. All y'all got is old peanut butter.
Bro, I watched another video where this pastor was on. I think the 2 examples I have was the same pastor. He was bragging about having a $3,000 dog.
What?
And he was bragging about
He was bragging about it. He was bragging about having a $3,000 dog, and the dog understood like 3 languages or something like that.
It's a dog. They don't understand. They know tones.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? How is your congregation though?
Yeah.
Why you got this 3,000? How many people in your congregation can benefit from this $3,000
dog?
Bro, the maintenance from a private jet, you got gas, you got upholstery, you got cleaning it, you got storage, all of this. Where's your congregation at? And that's another reason why.
Would you say those are false prophets?
Listen.
Just a blanket statement, I guess.
I wouldn't necessarily say false prophet. I would just say they are. Man, it's tough because false prophet does seem like the proper way to phrase it,
right.
But that doesn't, because they're doing these things, buying a $3,000 dog, having a private jet, doesn't mean that what they're saying about the Bible and what God is saying in the Bible is untrue.
So you can live wrong but still tell the truth?
Don't people do that?
Usually it bleeds through at some point, though.
It shows in his actions. You got a $3,000 dog.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So is that somebody that
he got a whole congregation still following, though?
Oh, but that's
to me, that's where the false prophet kicks in. To me,
yeah,
where you still know what to say, you know what to do to keep people to come back to your church week after week, tied amounts with commas.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they struggling to keep your jet flying in the air.
Right, and that's why I 10,000% agree with you. Right. This is my second example. I want to say this before I forget. I think it was the same pastor, right, bro? So it was come to get the tithes and time to get the tithes and offering, right? And it's a big church and it's a big altar or whatever, pulpit, whatever. He said he does what a lot of pastors do. A lot of tell them like, if God told me to tell you that if you come put your money on this stage right now, He'll give you a blessing, tenfold or whatever it was, right?
Right.
The whole church,
yeah,
came up throwing money. I'm talking about like you thought this dude was stripping.
Look like Magic City in there.
I'm talking about like, and it got to a point where you couldn't even see the stairs anymore. There's so much money, and it's an old video, so you can't really see if it's dollars, fives, 20s, whatever it is. The whole stage is covered in it, right?
Uh-huh.
So during the same video, he's dancing on the money.
Footworking on the money.
Bro, see, people that continue to follow stuff like that are people that I believe are following Christianity as a religion and putting the pastor up on a pedestal, then following Christianity as a spirituality and really taking their time out and having a relationship with God.
You know what this sound like? A branding issue. Or just, because I only got one example, and that's with the Israelites, the black Israelites.
Yeah,
you know the monks will be wearing purple and shit.
Yeah.
They believe that they are original Israelites or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I've heard of it. I keep meaning to do research on it, but it's like, I don't like. How does that affect anything? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So one thing I be seeing like it because when I be at the bus, sometimes I take a different bus to get to work. One of the, I guess, people who are on the secondary bus stop I take, he be blaring his music outside of his crib. Okay. Well, not music, like whatever sermon he trying to push. He blaring it is on the loudspeaker outside the crib. If you walk past, you can hear it. If you can hear it from a fucking block away. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, if they really think about, how to draw people back in. Yeah. And it's to build some type of rapport with the neighborhood. Yeah. Right. So I'm thinking, yeah. So I'm thinking, this bus stop is always dirty. It's always trash. The bushes behind the bus stop always growing outward. People can't really stand right there. If I'm thinking about it, how I feel like Christian church or whatever church you're a part of. Yeah. Get out here, put on your purple jacket with Israel, whatever Israelite group you with. Right. Get out here, pick up the fucking trash, cut these branches and bushes, and people gonna see that. And what they first thing gonna see is what you got on. Right. And then next you know, especially the older people in the neighborhood. Yeah. Oh, look at them actually doing something for the community. Not just blaring your fucking sermon out your house and that shit is mad fucking annoying, but you out here really doing something. Yeah. Not trying, because like I said, a lot of these religious groups or spiritual groups need to take a branding and marketing class. Yeah. Because and they go for the Moorish Americans too, because they was terrible at, they tried to recruit me one time. They were terrible at that shit. Yeah. I'm like, listen, come correct. Yeah. And which means do for the community that you actually claim that you want to uplift, because that's what Israelites or Moorish or Christians, they all want to supposedly do, improve the community, but are you showing it? Yeah. And I think none of them are as a whole, no. Because if that was the case, a lot of people be like, "Oh, I just seen the church from down the street. The people was out here on the block and they was doing such and such, or the Israelites was cleaning up the bus stop. Damn show needed. Yeah, but you don't see this shit. Right. So I think a lot of people are getting away from religion and spirituality as a whole. Yeah, because they are not. You lead by example, and they ain't being shown the example. Yeah, and that's one thing I wholeheartedly respect about the Muslim faith. They get out there and do it. They get out there and help the community. You know what I'm saying? They get out there and see that if somebody's suffering, they put in work to try to rehabilitate that person to the best of their ability at the time or whatever, right? And that's what I do not see ever with Christians.
That's what I say, man. They go inside the church, close the doors, they lock, then they leave. Bro, like I said, I've been. They usually have a space in the bad neighborhoods because it's low property tax, so they can get the place dirt cheap. Is that why? I didn't know that. They get the place dirt cheap.
I mean, that's what I thought too. Shit.
Yeah. They get the place dirt cheap again. They get taxed because it's a religion, so everything they buy from the church is tax free. Yeah. So like,
so the pastor put the PJ in the name of the church. So
yeah. That's why they get all that stuff in the name of the church. Joel Osteen playing is in his church. He didn't pay no taxes on that. And so when it comes to that, even that. So now you got these multi-million-dollar churches who are not contributing to society because they're not paying taxes. Everybody always go tax the rich, tax the church.
Yeah. They part of the rich at this
tax point. The church. Tax these mega churches. Once your church hit a certain threshold, you now contribute to the rest of society, because that's what your religion is supposed to do, right? You preach on the words, you contribute to society. Do that with your tithes too. Yeah,
yeah. I, by the way, I just want to. I forget what the word I want to use, but I'm not like the meat for the people in the comments, because I know y'all know. But I'm not like a medium between like society and Christian faith and like all that stuff. I'm just speaking on what I've experienced.
It's personal beliefs.
Personal beliefs and all that. Like I'm just speaking on what I've experienced and what I see is happening. But yeah, that's it, man. But I can go on and on with that stuff, bro. I done seen a lot of stuff.
I mean, most people can't really talk about religion unless before they get in their feelings, which is understandable. But you got to be able to communicate why you feel the way you feel, not just because most people end up in some sort of heated situation.
Part of being a man, being able to express your emotions.
I mean, I don't think women should be getting so fucking heated about a conversation either. If you grown, it's about being a grown adult, not just being a man. Yeah, I think grown adults should be able to communicate.
Woman,
but they should be able to communicate, right? But like I said, I understand it because faith is not something that's tangible. Like I can't grab it, right? So, and I'm not out here questioning nobody's faith. I might say something I think. No, for the most part, I don't think I've ever questioned. I might have said something that might have came off as a question. Yeah. But it was a question of me being ignorant to whatever it is that I was asking. Yeah. So, but they tell you never talk politics, and religion, and what else? There's a third one.
The two I heard was
sexuality.
That must be new.
No,
with your friends, right?
Not just with just in general, like or in the workplace or wherever you at. Those are three topics you don't want to bring up, like stuff about trans and gay, LGBTQ.
So what the way I heard it is, like to keep your friends, you don't talk about religion, politics, and how to raise their kids.
That's you know what. When I first heard that concept, I only heard never debate religion and politics. Right. Yeah. Nobody ever told me how to raise their kids. Yeah, I actually learned that
the hard way.
I learned that.
I mean, I wouldn't tell nobody else how to raise their kids anyway. So
people try to.
I think that is, oh man, that goes into the previous conversation of not practicing community. Yeah. Like if we got rapport with each other, and you got a child that's being a menace to society because we have rapport with each other, I should be able to come to you and respectfully tell you that you got to get this in order.
Right. Check your goddamn kid.
Get that little motherfucker in order.
But everybody is like, don't tell me how to raise my kids, even if your kid is the problem. So, but
they be like, little Tay-Tay out there killing everybody. And little Tay-Tay the mama
don't tell me how to raise my son. Like, get out of here, man.
I don't know. All right, we done with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
We done with that.